Good evening and welcome to Truth, Health, and Wellness. I'm Lacey Klotz here with the famous Dr. Matt and Deborah St. John. Hey guys.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. Have you had a good week?
Yes.
Very good week.
It was very good.
Very busy, very full, and we're excited to be here.
It's good. What flavor do you have over there? I haven't seen that one.
Oh, this is a new one.
Oh,
Is that
boy.
supposed to be Mountain Dew? Or?
Kinda, yeah.
This is an Olipop Ridge Rush.
They
It
just
doesn't
came
have
out with it.
doesn't have any of the chemicals that Mountain Dew has, but it does have a little bit of caffeine.
It's the
naturally
only
occurring.
one that has a
How
little
much?
caffeine in it.
How much?
That's a good question. Probably about 50 milligrams, maybe. Does it say? No, it just says green tea caffeine. I could call them and find out. I'm sure they'll tell me the truth.
It doesn't seem like a whole lot,
You'd
but
probably be the first person to call and ask them that question.
I would guess around 50 milligrams.
no more than 65.
Yeah, because that's a normal cup of coffee. Or
Right, yeah, or something.
Something like that.
Something less healthy.
They're pretty good though.
They're very
have a
good,
great
very
taste.
good.
They do not taste like sparkling waters. Those are, I don't see how people drink those. No, these are much more flavorful.
Yeah,
And they're healthy.
They're like, they brag and we're like, hey, it has less than 10 calories. Well, it tastes like it has a lot
Exactly,
less than 10
exactly.
calories. That
Yeah.
happens too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been a busy week.
What have you seen the most of in the clinic this week?
We've had people with, well, almost everyone that's been in has been issues with their mental health, issues with their thinking,
It's a big thing.
issues with how they're thinking, how they're reacting to stress. There's so many people dealing with so much right now, and so it's a common issue. I had someone in today. What was I dealing with today? You remember?
Well, I know vaccine injury. The last 2 days, we've seen a few of
Yeah,
those.
several in the past couple of days. Yeah, 2 or
Yeah.
3 people with vaccine injuries, dealing with neurological issues and that sort of thing.
Can we talk about that?
Well, we can. You know, it's an issue that we're seeing a good bit, and it's people who've had the COVID-19 vaccines. A lot of folks are dealing with pretty severe, side effects, issues from it. Now, the crazy thing is how few people, or physicians, want to admit that that's the culprit.
Right.
A lady came in the other day and she's like, I have this neurological issue and I have tremors and I have the beginnings of adult onset Parkinson's. I have Parkinson's. And I'm like, well, we start talking about the Parkinson's and we get a good bit of information going. And then finally she says, well, I had two of the COVID vaccines and I had 2 boosters. And I said, well, okay. When did your troubles start with the condition that you're dealing with now, with the Parkinson's? They said, oh, it was, just about a month or 2 after that. So I told my doctor that that's what I thought that it was, but they argued with me. So,
They did.
imagine being a physician that's so dead set on the evil that you're actually putting out there and the mistakes and the evil that you've done, that you will look at somebody in the face, know that they have a problem caused by something, and just look at them and say, no, that's not what did it. It's inherent evil that just keeps amplifying. So it's we have those are really upsetting to us because we have people that they'll come to us last. They don't find out about us until normally after they've had some issues for a while. But thankfully we do have a trend I have seen lately is people bringing their whole families in. The mom will come in, or the lady of the household will come in. Next thing you know, her husband will come in. Then all of a sudden, their son's coming in, their daughter's coming in, and I really like to see
That's
that
great.
because when you have everyone in the household coming in and you're able to help them, then you can actually help the entire household. And then you have all these people that help us. It's like, who would think that if we have a household where we have a 50-year-old man, a 45-year-old woman, that the integral part of the health of that home is actually like the 15-year-old son.
I was going to say, they're the mix.
Yeah. And he's like, Mom, you don't need to eat that. Dad, you don't need to do that.
Well,
it helps out.
Well, we were just having a conversation over dinner with our daughter about someone she knows that's trying to get healthy, but she's hiding it from her family.
Right.
Like she's a teenager, right? And she wants to
Being healthy's not cool, I
yeah,
guess.
she wants to I guess drop a few pounds and get her weight under control and get herself healthy, but she's afraid to talk to her parents about it. So she's just doing it, kind of behind their backs. And
How do you do that as a teen? How do you do that?
exactly, well,
Because
that's
what money
you
does she have to buy
can't.
her?
Right.
Exactly.
So she's
You-
like cutting back on the
and-
drinks, and the parents are like, "Why do we have so many drinks?"
Well, there's so many Dr. Peppers in our fridge.
Yeah.
So it's hard. You can't do it with. A lot of times you can't do it without your whole family on board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it needs to be. I mean, if you're, well, it'd be like saying, "Okay, well, kids, I think your mother's going to become a Christian." Think
Okay.
about how well that works, right? You know
Right.
what I mean? It's how about, hey, kids, how about our home is going to accept Christianity?
Yeah.
We're going to become a Christian household. We're going to become a healthy household. We're going to become an intelligent household. We're going to quit thumbing through our phones every night, at dinner, and we're going to actually sit down and have a conversation. We're going to watch things on TV that aren't stupid. Imagine when people start putting their foots down in their home when it comes to their health. And starts to actually incorporate healthy lifestyle habits within their home. I mean, it's cool. It's with like the example I gave a second ago with a 15-year-old boy. This is an actual example, and the 15-year-old boy, he's like a competitive swimmer. He's like has goals when it comes
Yeah.
to his athletics and what he's doing. So he doesn't want the family to fall off the bandwagon. He's like, no, Mom, don't eat that. Dad, don't do that because I want to be a career Olympian swimmer or whatever, and he
That's
knows
interesting, though, that
yeah.
his diet is on point because swimmers, they can eat anything they want and they will still have fantastic bodies.
That's true,
I'm not
yeah.
encouraging swimmers to eat badly. I am just making a statement
Well, it could be, yeah. And,
because I've seen it.
But the outside of how people look, I mean, eating anything you want. Let's go to Springfield, Ohio.
I don't want
Trump.
that.
the
Yeah,
Donald-
I know.
Okay. But
That whole
but
thing.
we can't just eat anything we want and be healthy, and people should know that, and people do know that. The problem is that people just want to feel good for the moment and have that little serotonin boost of eating the happy foods.
Comfort food.
Eating
There's a
those
reason why they
biscuits.
call them
Yeah,
comfort
eating those
Well,
biscuits at Jim and
Change
Joe's.
is hard. Change makes you uncomfortable.
And it's scary for some people,
It is.
And it's a huge adjustment.
Yeah.
and they're scared of the adjustment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then it's like you have all these multiple issues, and it's amazing right now. That's one of the things that I think we've had more people coming in for. They come in and they call it anxiety, but how many forms of anxiety do you know of that don't include fear as part of the anxiety?
Pretty much all forms that I can think of off the
Right.
top of my head.
Yeah, I mean anxiety is just another word that we have today for fear. And fear is really an epidemic. I mean, look at right now. People don't know whether to be more afraid of the hurricane, the other hurricane, the past hurricane. They don't know to be afraid of their government, the election. The cats and dogs in Springfield. I mean, there's so many things that people are afraid of, and it's just like it's compounding, and it's like a form of PTSD. People are dealing with it. COVID,
Which is a form of anxiety.
which is a form of, a form of anxiety, of course. And so that's the reason that here lately, our entheogenic herbs, or natural medicines that affect the mind, have been really the most popular things for people to be inquiring about, which is really cool because that's what we've been studying heavily for the past 2 or 3 years.
Right.
The heaviest are entheogenic herbs. And so it seems like the Lord just did that in the perfect time frame.
Yeah.
So we're talking about anxiety.
Yep.
And
Anxiety,
then-
stress, fear.
Trying to remember how we got there.
Who knows?
Mental health.
Mental health.
Mental health, and
definitely
that's what
been
you've seen this week. Okay.
Mainly mental health, really a lot of that. And we still have people coming in with allergies. I mean, sinus problems because when fall comes, the leaves start to turn, things start to dry up, and that drying sort of happens also with our mucous membrane in our own bodies. We get a little dried out. And when that comes, we become more susceptible to virus, and we become more susceptible to bacterium affecting us. And so that's why people get sick when it gets cold. It's not really the cold that's making them sick. It's the not only the cold, but the effort for people to get hot. They use a lot of heaters. They use a lot of
Very drying things.
Yeah, things that dry out the mucous membrane, and then when that's dried out, that leaves you more susceptible to inflammation. So it's a vicious cycle. And then that inflammation comes the more of potential for having a virus or a bacteria latch on and kick in.
So you need a very good immune system, and they actually have a fantastic supplement.
What we do, we have there's several things that we do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, immunity is one of the main things that we focus on right now, just because once again PTSD shows us that or tells us that we've had such an issue for the past 4 years of immune issues from COVID and everything else, and so people are just sick, and they're sick of being sick, and so building the immune system has finally started to become a thing that we're hearing. You know, people are coming in to build their immune system. They're not just coming in to get rid of the flu. They're preparing, and that's really awesome.
Yeah, we actually have a question about that. Someone wrote, "How can I build up my immune system?"
Oh wow! Well, there's
That's
certain
the first one.
botanicals that are just wonderful, and that we are kind of like the standard. And one is elderberry, elderberry syrup, elderberry extract, elderberry concentrate. Then we have vitamin D3, very important for immunity.
So important.
Vitamin C and the antioxidant vitamins like C, E, selenium, beta carotene, or vitamin A. Those are your vitamins that tend to help with immunity. And then we have mushrooms like reishi and shiitake and maitake. And
Oh, I thought
cordyceps.
of something
Yeah, they're mushrooms. Those
else when you
mushrooms can
said
help
that.
too. They can help you go to another place and forget about it for a minute.
Yeah.
But medicinal mushrooms are a very important part. I feel like most of the new breakthroughs that we're going to have in natural medicine for the next few years is going to be mainly medicinal mushrooms and terpenes, the essential oils, the actually what comprise the essential oils, the terpenes. That's where we're going to be finding a lot of our new medicines in the future, and that's where we are. That's where P77 came from, our P77 formula.
That's right.
It's all terpenes, mainly terpenes, and it helps. Of course, we've been using it for COVID and everything else, strep, noroviruses.
Well,
Those
we've
go for
had
all of it.
we've had people coming in with long COVID still.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Hi.
years.
Still
I
have
mean,
COVID.
4
later.
years going
Yeah.
strong right here.
brain fog.
Oh yeah.
And that's a common thing. We have a lot of folks that are dealing with post-COVID brain fog, post-COVID vaccination brain fog, and a lot of issues that go along with that. And that's an issue that goes back to your mental health.
Yeah, and I do feel like COVID was such a wild card, is such a wild card, and I think that whenever someone gets it, it's going to latch on to whatever weaknesses they already had.
Yes, that's
Because the
interesting.
weaknesses I had amplified after I had that original strand of COVID.
I had a very poor growing thumbnail for 3 years after having COVID-19.
Yeah.
That was the one thing that took the
Interesting.
longest.
Remember we talked about my little
Yeah,
nail
and
issue?
so this and COVID literally almost to this day, it's still not as awesome as I'd like for it to be.
Which one?
My right thumbnail, and you can actually
Mine
see
too.
that notch right there. This is the other day I was for some reason nervously picking my thumb, which I never do, and I picked my thumbnail and it actually kind of broke right there where I've been having an issue, and it's been that way since COVID. COVID will affect people in weird ways.
Weird ways.
Yeah, it really will. And of course, there's the weird connection between COVID and the brain fog, and that's this inflammation that you get in your cerebrospinal fluid. But people are still dealing with that 4 years after they've had COVID. So, and we know how to help that. We can help that part.
So I need to start taking that too. I
There
do
you go.
I do have some.
Add it to the regimen.
I'll add it to the collection.
Right.
All right, well, on that note, we are going to take a quick break, but don't go away. We'll have more with Dr. Matt and Deborah St. John in just a few moments. We'll be right back.
May not believe it, but it's true. The 2024 Team 1 Chevys are here. All 23-24 Silverado light duties have 2.9% financing for 72 months. The hottest new 24 Team 1 Chevy Blazer, 1.9% financing and no payments till April. And the #1 selling family vehicle, the Equinox, 24 models. You got it. 1.9% financing and no payments till April. Team 1 Chevrolet, home of the best people, the best service, period.
At Southern States Bank, we pride ourselves on being your bank. We're your neighbors and involved in the community. We're the bank featuring the Southern Rewards checking account, a cashback account with no ATM fees. We are on the cutting edge and always have a smiling face to help you out. So come to Southern States Bank, where we are committed to great service and being a great neighbor. Let us be the bank for you and your business.
At DVP Auto Group, we have a wide selection of any type of car you could want. We offer financing for all types of credit. Not only can we help you to purchase a car affordably, but we can help you with any issues you may experience with your car as well. We provide oil change, tire repair, brake service, or anything else you may need. We also gladly accept trade-ins, and if you're willing, we can help you drive away in a new car the same day. If you don't see something you like in the lot, we'll help you find one, whether you buy from us or not. Come see us today.
The Point at JSU is an off-campus student housing property located a half a mile away from Jacksonville State University. The Point offers fully furnished, pet-friendly, 2 bedrooms and 4 bedroom units. Resident experience is our #1 priority, therefore we do offer the following amenities: a resort-style pool, fitness center, basketball and volleyball court, and dog park. We would love for you to come see our property, so give us a call at 256-376-8317 to schedule a tour today.
Welcome back to Truth, Health, and Wellness. I'm Lacey Klontz with Dr. Matt and Deborah St. John. So what were we talking about before the break? We were talking about anxiety,
Immunity.
immunity.
Immune system.
I think we have another question from a fan. Let's see. They said, I have been told that exposure to large amounts of mold, especially prolonged exposure, is more likely to cause some type of serious health problems. What kind of problems will this cause?
Well, several. I mean, you think about mold, the first thing you think about is like pulmonary, having problems with your breathing, having problems with your lungs, and you will have that normally. But when you look at mold and look at people who are being exposed to mold, you'll normally start out with things like headaches. You'll start having headaches. You won't be able to explain them that well. Frequent headaches.
That's the #1?
A lot of times it's,
Well, people are different when
Yeah.
it comes to mold. A lot of times they'll have all of these random issues systemically and can't figure out how they're connected.
toenail fungus.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of abnormal growth, even abnormal skin issues.
A little cough that won't go away. You know, just so many different things can pop up. Skin rashes, random skin rashes that come and go.
But it's treatable. There's a lot that you can do about mold in the system. I mean, you can take you can do a lot of things to help suppress the mold. There's an herb called Pau d'Arco. It's actually a Peruvian herb that we used a lot longer than we've been going to Peru. But it's called Lapaccio. And Pau d'Arco, the inner bark of the Pau d'Arco tree has been shown to be like a super awesome antifungal. And it's also used, interestingly enough, for cancer because mold exposure can lead to cancer.
That's right.
So it gets a lot worse than headaches, and it gets a lot worse than toenail fungus or whatever, that you can actually develop certain forms of cancer from mold. And so getting rid of it is, of course, getting away from it and getting rid of it is very important. Now that's the first part that most people don't even do. They
What if
keep
you
trying
can't
to band-aid it.
identify how you...
Well,
you
that's
know?
true. I mean, yeah, you can get, I know that there are like companies like ServPro and others who can come in, they can test your home. I can walk in someone's home and tell them if it has mold in it or not, just by smelling. I mean, I can smell mold very, 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 very easily.
What does it smell like?
Mold.
What does that smell like?
Stuffy, like it's a hard thing to explain.
Yeah, it's like a musty, almost wet smell.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I mean, if you've ever smelled like a towel that's
a
been
wet
wet for a
towel,
while,
yeah.
it's that kind of smell, but maybe
amplified.
not as strong because it's, you know, hidden away places and
Well, yeah, you don't always smell it.
yeah.
A lot of times you'll see it. People have it in their
Yeah.
in their walls. You know, people say, "Oh, well, we fixed the leak." Well, did you really fix the leak? Did you just fix it from leaking, or did you literally gut all of the insulation, the boards, the materials that got wet, and make sure that they're not moldy? There are also things you can do. Now, you can use ozone No, what some people will do, some people listen, they're like, well, listen, I live in a house, I'm paying, whatever, $600 a month, I'm locked into a lease, I can't afford anymore, and if I leave this lease, if I leave this home, I won't be able to get another place, I have to live where I have to live, or I bought a place at McClellan somebody suckered me into or something. Anyway, so people have these issues, they feel like they can't get away from their homes, they can't get away from the mold. So what they'll do in some cases, and you can do this, you can get ozone generators. They're best used when you're not at home because they will just nuke a place. They'll actually burn up your respiratory and kind of dry out your mucous membrane a little bit. So a lot of people abuse these types of machines. There used to be one called Alpine or Living Air machines, and they're old. And they were like network marketing company. You turn them up, and they almost smell like bleach. So those are used. They'll use them in apartment complexes and in buildings to kind of like get rid of the mold, or at least temporarily get rid of the smoke smell or the mold smell or whatever it might be. And so using those in your environment can help get down, the level of the mold and help get it maybe to a point where you can live with it or tolerate it. But once again, you even have to be careful with the ozone generators. So the best idea is to get rid of it. If you can't get rid of it, getting ozone generators and then taking internally Paul DiArco, maybe using a little bit of tea tree oil if you have some, thumbnail or the fingernails or toenail fungus or that type of thing. Using the tea tree oil, using foot baths to help treat that. But internally, there's a lot. Now, what about pulmonary issues? What about things that we can use like to detoxify the lungs, like lobelia, and mullein, fenugreek, and thyme, and other herbs that are used to kind of get this stuff loosened up so it doesn't just settle on you. It's interesting because with people in our bodies, whatever's moving is normally healthy. If we have movement in our colons are generally healthy. Why? Because things aren't sticking around our colon too long to become toxic and to be reabsorbed into the system. It's when things stick around that you end up developing colon cancer, polyps, growths and abnormal tissue and that sort of thing. So if things are moving in your body, then it's normally a good thing. So if you're breathing and you're doing breathing treatments or breathing exercises, if you're taking herbs that help with free flow of breathing, then that's going to be healthier than just being stagnant. If your urinary tract is working effectively and you're urinating as you should be, and your bladder and your kidneys are healthy and they're working like they're supposed to be, that's a good thing. If your colon is moving like it needs to be, so taking things that can increase that movement, whereas in the colon it'll be things like Cascara sagrada and senna and Turkish rhubarb and what are some others? Anyway, things that help with moving the colon, and with the lungs it's things like fenugreek and thyme and marshmallow root and lobelia and mullein. Slippery elm.
These names.
These are things that can help things, especially slippery elm. Slippery elm helps coat the mucous membrane, so you end up getting this aid to the free flow of our body's mucous membrane, and that's very important to keep things moving. So everything that's moving is healthier. It's like if you take an old antique truck, you take an old Ford truck and you put it in the garage and leave it for a couple of days, it's fine. Leave it for a couple of weeks, it's fine. Leave it for a couple of months and don't crank it when your battery's probably going to be dead. Leave it for a couple of years and your seals and gaskets are going to start rotting. Don't drive the thing for about 15 years and now the entire engine needs to be rebuilt before it's ever cranked because all the seals and gaskets are so old that they're croggy and falling apart. That same thing sort of happens in our bodies. We get croggy and we fall apart. Croggy and fall apart.
Oh my goodness. So now with the mold, what have you all seen that is the number one cause of someone to
have mold exposure?
Not necessarily number one, but the top few main causes, the most common causes for the exposure.
Motorhomes and RVs and people living in trailers, that sort of thing that aren't really totally designed to live in full time. And then when they have damage or they sustain damage, they don't damage well.
Got you.
If you know what I mean. That's one of the first sources. That's something we see because we're boondockers. We like camping and all that type of stuff. So we see that a lot. I can find a camper. I can tell you it has mold in it that fast.
What about in a mattress?
Oh yeah. Oh, every time I hear the word mattress, I think, and no offense to our lovely, wonderful people down in the Amazon, we love you guys, and you know it. But undoubtedly, there was a really great idea that someone had a long time ago, and that was to give mattresses to all the people in the jungle. I'm not joking. So like all these organizations get together and we're like, we're going to give mattresses to these people in the jungle because they
Used mattresses.
No, well,
They were new when they
they were
got 'em.
supposed to be new when they got them, but that might be like like the mattress place that got busted, Parnell's or something, years ago that was selling like redone used mattresses,
Recovered
recovered. They were actually in Oxford. They were busted like 20 years ago. Anyway, but yeah, we were invited. They're like, okay, you could stay in this hut. We want you to stay in this hut, and you guys are going to have an ayahuasca ceremony and everything. But we're going to have this mattress. We got a bed for you. I'm like, oh, a bed? That's nice. We don't have to sleep in hammocks or on the floor. I was begging for a hammock or the floor to sleep on after we saw this mattress. Anyway.
We slept on it though.
Did it look bad, or it had the smell?
It was just, you know.
You have a picture?
I would not have taken one. I thought I was going to take one and send to my mom.
It didn't look bad. Okay, the mattress itself didn't look that bad.
It looked bad.
It didn't. There were sheets on it. You couldn't even see the mattress.
I looked under the sheets, honey. You didn't look under the sheets.
It's more of the big picture of being in the jungle.
Big, nasty picture.
You know, with just everything around, you know, in the jungle, and just understanding that the mattress.
If I could have found
that
an
things
old
can live
dog to
in
have slept on, I
mattresses.
would have slept on that dog. I would have liked to have slept on anything other than that mattress. But anyway, so you can find them in your mattresses, yes. There was we don't sleep. We have an air mattress now in the jungle.
Oh, yeah.
We can get through with the
There
air
you go,
mattress,
yeah.
we fold it up, put it in a bag, in a box, that's done. And we have them wash the linens in the creek, and so we're good to go. But no, the mattresses are definitely, especially old mattresses. I don't understand how mattress places stay in business. You know, they're open. I mean, I never see anyone at a mattress place other than people working there. And then how many people change their mattress? I mean, like once every 10 years.
And technically, I think you're supposed to change them, every 6 or 7?
Depends on who you talk to. Talk to the guy at the mattress place; he'll tell you every year.
Oh, well, of course.
But the main thing is people do need to change their mattresses more often, and I would be careful about just any type of mattress. We were shopping for mattresses not too long ago, and I mean this stuff comes in from China. There's no telling what you're sleeping on top of, and the chemicals and just it's a mess. But yes, mold can definitely hide in those things, especially if you're. But you should be able to see something. You should be able to smell something. There should be
Right.
some discoloration. There should be something that looks off-putting.
Makes sense.
What about these water bottles people are toting around these days? You can get mold in those.
See,
and
all's fine and good.
In the straws.
There, the straw, because that's what you're actually putting your mouth on. You're smelling it as you put it up. But there's other aspects of these lids that need to be cleaned. And so a lot of people are not washing, and they're not washing their kids' water bottles very well. They're not sterilizing the lids. They're not sterilizing the, you take the straws and all that. It depends on the type of water bottle. We replace the filters on these, but we have to clean these lids. You just take them off, put them in the dishwasher.
I mean, before we got this bottle, though, I had a regular bottle that didn't have the filter in it. You could take the lid off and like stick your nose in it after like a day of carrying it around, and you could smell, like a mold smell, basically. And I'm thinking,
yeah.
just from carrying it around.
You're
all day.
trying to do well by doing all this, go to this great extent.
I
to drink your
know.
bottle.
And
And now
the
you're like,
filter,
take a
and
swig
then
of mold.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
It happens. But it's important. Anything that you're dealing with that has water, anything that's dealing with the earth around like a home or your drainage and that sort of thing. It's really important. A lot of people don't feel like they have the time to really look into all this. But when we look at naturopathic medicine, we look at what you're putting in your body, the food that you're eating, the air that you're breathing is very important. The people that you're around, the environment that you're around. These are all things that we look at in naturopathic medicine because it's very important that someone to be holistically well, the whole body, that's your mind, that's your body, and that's your spiritual life. And so few people really want to consider all those things in their wellness. They're like, I just got to get over this cold, or I just got to get rid of this cough. No, the cold or the cough are just symptomatic of
What's really going on.
Right, your real problem, and that's the
root
root cause is what we're after. That's what we want to look at.
So go see them to figure out what your root cause is.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll help you find your roots.
Yes. Hey,
That's good.
That's your new slogan. You need that on the sign.
At least till next week.
That's
right.
good.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight, but thank you all for joining us. Again, I'm Lacey Klontz with Dr. Matt and Deborah St. John. We will see you right here next week on Truth, Health, and Wellness. Have a great night.